It's time for some dumb football questions here, gentlemen. Our graphics department again is just
on
having
fire.
a field day this week.
Fire.
Yeah. I got a couple dumb football questions from the audience here. And by the way, we're carving recording plans for the actual season where we're going to have a little bit more space to explore. We're kind of cramming some of this stuff into like a shorter time, but we will explore more space once the season starts. Let's start with T-Man Tom here with his dumb football question in the YouTube comment section. What's it like when a season ends, particularly after, let's say, a tough playoff loss or something like that? What's it like for you guys?
You want to take the bad ones? I'll take the good ones.
Yeah, I had more bad ones than good ones. I mean, they're all bad. Like, there's only one team happy at the end of the year, right? There's only one team happy, and it's this feeling when you feel like you had a chance. I'm going to use the 2017 NFC Championship game, for example. Like, we had this feeling we were going to play the Super Bowl in our own stadium, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just over. Like, there's no wind down, right? Like, it's this giant build up to the game, right? Every playoff game is just that much more important, and you're climbing the mountain, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just a cliff drop off. Like, there's no, like, wind down. It's just like, all right, boys, see you in April, right? And it's just this feeling of, like, we were so close. We were so close, and we were right there, and we had everything in front of us to go win a Super Bowl, and then it just ends, right? It just ends. The confetti flies for the other team, and you're getting on the plane going home, and your wife's texting you like, so when are we leaving for home? Right? Like, and you get in, you clean your locker out the next day, you have a quick exit meeting with your coach. If you're a free agent, you talk to the GM, and then it's like, okay, well, see you in April, and you just go about your merry way. Like, it's just such an abrupt ending. Like, there's nothing else in life that's just that abrupt. Like, I've never come in anything else where it's just like, yep, cut, scene, over, movie done. Like, no end credits, no, like, Apple, like, there's nothing. It's just
And you're probably not
over.
spending the week while you're preparing for the NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl. You're probably not also preparing for, like, but if we lose, maybe we should, like, have this planned out over here, right?
Zero.
There's none of that. You're when you're in the playoffs, you focus 5 minutes in front of your face. Yes. Right, like, everything is just about 5 minutes in front of your face, and so when it ends like that, like, you are in this kind of loss. Like, and I know you probably haven't watched it, but like the Kirk Cousins when he's driving home after the playoff game, where he's like, it just doesn't feel like it should be over.
Yeah,
that's a very real feeling.
Maybe you should stop checking down on fourth and eighth.
This shouldn't be over. That shouldn't have happened. Like,
maybe
and there's a lot of questions that come to mind. Like, did my one play fuck everything up? Like, so much. You start doubting things. Like, you can go into a spiral really quick for 24 hours after a playoff loss.
I actually went back and watched that Eagles loss, the Vikings loss, and I did pin it on you specifically, Jeremiah.
I did give up a sack to Fletcher Cox, so that was super upsetting.
Oh my gosh,
super upsetting.
What was the score when you gave up the sack?
35-7, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean,
You're
I came in the middle of the third quarter. We didn't run the ball one time. It was my
2 minute. We've been there. Hey, we've all been there. Middle of third quarter, running 2 minute. You know the game is way out of hand. Exactly. No, but it's like Jay said. It's super fast, abrupt. And then when you're going upstairs, because I always remember the feeling of like walking upstairs and you just see trash cans full of paper and plays and defenses and everything, and everyone's just throwing everything away and nobody cares about anything, and everyone's super depressed and pissed off, and you're like, so I come back tomorrow, right? And they're like, no, you don't, stupid. We lost. You're like, so I come back in 2 days then? Like, I'm confused. Do I recover for tomorrow? What do you mean we... And he's right. When you play poorly, because I remember there were some really gut-wrenching ones. We lost to Seattle, obviously, when Richard Sherman did the choke sign. And, I mean, just sitting on the plane being like, so many things we could have done better, and so many plays that I wish, and we remembered it was going to be so much better than it went, and we didn't expect them to do this. And the problem is, and this is too, like, when you're in the middle of a big game like that, you can't sometimes see the tree for the forest. You're seeing everything, and you're like, where is the problem? And then the minute the game's over, you're watching the film, and you're like, am I the dumbest person alive? It's right here. Why? It's because in the game you're like you're looking at everything but what you're supposed to be looking at. You're like, I don't get who's messing this up, and there's so much on the line, and everyone's asking the same question: where's the problem? And nobody can see it. And the minute we all get on the plane, we're watching it like 6 at a time, and it's like, you guys all see the problem, right? We all see it now. First play I saw it, and you're like, God, this is destroying me. And then the whole offseason you're thinking about it, and the worst is when you come in, and this really only happened when I came here. I walked in OTAs, and they were like, oh, get ready for this one. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about all the low lights from last year. And every week they pulled up every single game, like week by week by week,
Oh,
and they went over
painful.
every single bad play. So all the new guys knew all the shitty players quickly. Like all the guys messing up and doing the same exact
Did that
thing. So-
happen anywhere else other than
no,
Minnesota?
Remember, and this is something that I thought about this last week that we should have talked about. And I'm glad it came up like this. There's a saying in the NFL, and this saying bothers me more than anything: water under the bridge. The minute the season's over, they're like, dude, it's water under the bridge. Let it go. And you're like, I can't though. It's bothering me how much we tried and we just messed up this tiny little thing. Like it's just, and they're like, dude, water under the bridge. You got to let it go. But the minute I came here and they were like pulling everybody up and they pulled up like the grade sheets and I was like, man, they are really, really going hard about last year. They really are mad about last year. They are pissed. But I feel like sometimes the water under the bridge and looking back, once again, I couldn't see it then, but I see it now. It's them going, hey man, we can't hang on to everything. Right? Like we all mess up. We're all human. That's why we play this game. That's why we try as hard as we can. And sometimes you lose by like this much. And it's the most painful thing. And it really is because it sits you forever, just forever on your mind. But the coaches are like, dude, you got to let it go because it will fester into something insanely crazy in your mind. And you're like, I don't even know how I got here, but I'm thinking really crazy thoughts now. And I'm suddenly like, I remember guys would be like, dude, I just don't think I should play anymore. I just don't think I can do this. You're like, dude, it's the middle of May. They're like, I'm just watching that game from December and I'm feeling really some type of, you're like, dude, now I see why they were like water under the bridge. Like, just let it go. We'll move on.
The other part that's not football related is like, that team will never be the same.
Right.
Right. Like that's another thing. Like in college, you're like, okay, we're going to lose some seniors, but like, I know who my core group's going to be, like everything. But like when you finish a game in the NFL, like, that roster is immediately getting turned over. Right. Immediately, right? Like guys are going to be gone and you don't really know. And so like you leave and then you leave the facility and then you're like, man, am I ever going to see that guy again? Right? Like, am I ever going to run into that human being again that I just spent the last 5 months every single day with and saw them every day, sat in the cold tub, know about their family, went over to their house, and then I may never see them again.
Hey, here's what I want to know from you guys. Who's someone that you wish you saw more of? Someone that, man, I had a great year with that guy, and I haven't seen that guy in a long time because we're not teammates anymore. Do you have anyone like that?
There's a guy that weighs like super heavy on my mind, and I think about him a lot. My wife brings it up to me that I should call him, but like one of the guys, and we didn't always end on the best terms, and a lot of that is this game is such a mental, and it messes with you, right? Like it makes you really believe at times that you're all brothers, and when someone lets you down, like they cut the core out, and you're like, dude, this is... how could you have done this? But like Anthony Davis was one of those guys that was just a great human, great dude, very different and interesting in his own way, and I loved everything about him. But like when I left and he left, it was like one of those, just like Jay said, I don't think I'll ever see that guy again. And it's kind of like hurtful at the same time because you're like, I just spent the last 5-6 years with this dude, and I'm never gonna talk to him again. And you're like, but that's the nature of the beast. And it's weird because we all know that. It's like we all know that we're going to go to different teams and make new friends. And we don't have time to sit around and be like, hey, buddy, how's life? How you been? How you doing? How's the wife? Kids good? You're like, because you're so entrenched with football all day. And when you're not, your wife and kids are on your mind all day. So you're like, I don't have time to do all this. And if you run into each other, you end up hugging. And you're like, it's my best friend forever. Your wife's like, I've never heard of this guy. You're like, kidding me? Seen him naked. I know this guy better than anybody. This is my dude.
He hangs a little left, huh? Let's go.
Doesn't look as good as me, I promise, babe.
I think for me, it's Jerick McKinnon. Like Jerick was a guy in 16 and 17 dude. That like he grew up with us, right? He wasn't the featured back.
Yeah.
Adrian was in, and then all of a sudden he was the dude, and he killed it. And he was a guy that was always in meetings. He was always in the O-line meetings with the run game install. Like we hung out off the field a few times. Like he came over to the house. Like him and I came over. He just came over one night, just the two of us. We just watched football together. Like, and it was like a weird thing. Like we weren't great friends, but like we had a lot of respect for each other. And like I loved hanging out with Jet. Like I loved hanging out with Jet. And he's a guy that I still like. His Snapchats are insane. He's an insane human being. But like I love that guy. I love that he's had the success because he got paid in San Fran, got hurt, didn't get to play, and then he went and won a Super Bowl with KC, got paid again in KC. Like just
Great
super
dude.
happy for that dude. And that's a guy I wish I hung out with more.
Hey, how about this one? And I'll give you one for both of us. Sam Bradford.
Sam was the dude.
Hey, that was our dude. Like, you want to talk about the Big Lebowski, the dude, he was the man. Like he was so, but we all knew that when he was done, he was just going to disappear.
Yeah.
He
He
told us, he was like, listen, don't ever call me. Don't ever text me. And every now and then I'll text him and be like, miss you, bro.
Does he respond?
Yeah. Like a day
I shot
or
him
two
a
later.
text. I went down duck hunting in Oklahoma a couple of years ago and shot him a picture and a text. And I was like, hey, I'm in the home state. And he was just like, man, good to hear from you. Hope all is well. Like,
That's
he,
it.
He was just such, that's it. That's all you're going to get out
You
of
know,
Sam.
and when someone says hope all is well, they don't really want you to respond.
No, that's not a response text.
Because if they care, if they want to engage, they'll say, how are you?
Yeah,
How is everything going? If they say hope all is well, it's like, if it's not well,
Yeah.
just,
you
you
say
know,
hope
I
all's
hope it
well.
gets well.
All you do, if someone hits you with the hope all's well, it's the double click heart button, and that's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It's over. Double click thumbs up or heart, and that's the end of the conversation.
Hey, but hey, I will say as a good teammate, I do have to check in with him once a year just to make sure that he's, and
Still there.
we should go see him.
I'd love to go see Sammy.
I would
I'd love to go see
love
Sammy B.
to go see him.
I don't know. Maybe we need a new segment here on O-line
We need
committee.
to go on tour.
A reunion
That's what we need
segment.
to do. We need to go on tour.
We need to get Sam and see if he'll do the podcast.
He would love to come on, especially.
Does he have
I don't
internet
know
where
if
he
would.
lives?
I don't know if he would.
He probably doesn't.
I mean, that's like remember we tried to reach out to Jake Long,
Yeah.
and we put our Jake Long played first round pick, like fantastic, right? He played in the
Love
Vikings,
him.
tore his Achilles.
Love him.
We were putting on our camp our first year, and we were like, hey, we need to get a name to come in here and help coach these kids. A guy that's been in the league,
That knows us, trusts us.
that knows us, trusts us. So we're like, it's called Jake, right? We both played next to him, like, and so we called Jake Long, and he was literally like, guys, I appreciate it, but I've just turned the page. I don't want anything to do with football ever again.
Wow.
He's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see it. Like, and that's just, and we're like, dude, totally get
Totally
it,
understand.
totally respect
And
it.
it's in injuries and everything,
he
right?
went through 19
19
surgeries. He almost
major
died
surgeries.
twice out of staff. Like, brought his way all the way back just to blow his Achilles against Washington in 2016. Like, he literally was just like, I turned the page. Like, I appreciate it, but no thanks. And that's just, I mean, that's the nature of what is so many people walk away from the game feeling that.
He's
And
like,
that's-
no thanks. Hope all is well.
But you know what? And this kind of spins
Leg,
into another
heart.
thing. Like, I understand now why so many guys leave hurt. Like, so many guys get broken, and then they just feel like they're like, nobody really appreciates it later. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things is like, part of the camp was to appreciate a lot of the guys that did it before us, like bringing in the Nick Hartwicks and the AQ Shipleys and the Jake Longs and the Joe Thomases. It's kind of like, listen, these guys were the ones before you that did it at such a super high level that you need to start thinking more like they did, and they can teach you just like they did it. And that's one of the things that, like, it hurts because some of the guys you talk to are like, hey man, I'm good. I've given up on that chapter. And you're like, it's so hurtful because I remember seeing them as teammates and they were so excited about the dumbest things. And we were all so excited to just go kill our bodies and destroy it. And now you see them and they're like, I kind of regret a little bit of those decisions. And it makes me feel bad because I was like, I kind of tagged along with you on that ride and I feel bad. And if I would have known you were hurting that bad, I might have told you to stop earlier, like, especially because he tore his Achilles against Washington. And it's like, if I could have prevented that, dude, I wish I would have. And sometimes it just takes you down a weird roller coaster ride, and that's sometimes what the nature of this beast is. It's very emotional. You're with guys all day who are broken and bleeding, and you're wiping their tears, and you're like, hey man, it's okay. No one sees you in your helmet, right? Like, I know, but that's it. It stays with us, right? And that's why this unit's always so close and so like brotherly with each other, and always looks out for each other. Never lets anyone do anything stupid. Always has each other's back because you are broken, and you're looking at the guy like, hey, I'm broken too. Let's go out and break each other a little bit more, right? Like, how far can the human body go? I don't know. Let's find out. And
then let's maybe never see each other ever again after the season
and that's
ends.
the thing,
What's
like, and
crazy.
that's the part. That's the part where it's like that stuff happens in a season, right? Like,
Yeah.
you are in each other's minds. You've seen each other highs, lows, like, and then all of a sudden it's just like when it ends, it ends. Everyone's gone,
Yeah.
right? And so now, like, you carry that stuff home with you, and now like I don't know how guys that didn't have a wife like did it, right? Like, my wife was an all-star. Like, I'd come home broken and she'd be there to help me and help me mentally, physically, like. But these guys that like don't have wives, like, that's where you see guys get into trouble because you're looking for someone to have that bond that you had with in the season, and when it just ends and it's over, there's this huge void in your life, like a big time void in your life that you have to find something to fill it with, like something, because it's a long time till April. It's a long time till you're back with those dudes again.
Screw
Looks
it,
like we
Sirles,
got-
I'm
we got-
back.
we-
I'm back, dude. 60 pounds. You're repping me.
Dude,
Here we go.
let's go.
I'm
Let's
back.
go.
I talked myself back into it.
He just put on 20 pounds already in
Dude,
this
I get
episode. Just
so
put-
excited thinking about it. It's
we
nothing
got a
like-
homework assignment. We got to track down some of these. Let's make a list. Who are we going to track down? Bring them back into your lives.
We got to do
And
it.
Anthony Davis, Jarek McKinnon, Sam Bradford. If
Mike
you have
Upati.
technology
Oh.
that supports this, Mike Upati.
We'll get
So-
it. We'll get it set up.
There's your dumb football questions, your O-line committee podcast. Keep sending us your dumb football questions too via the YouTube comment section, and we'll keep getting to as many as we can. And a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Plus, click like and subscribe on the O-line committee YouTube channel. This is an offensive line lifestyle and therapy podcast. Phil,
Yes, it is.
Jeremiah, Alex.